What's going on, people? What is going on? It's G, and we are back in the building. Just a little quick video I wanted to do today. Obviously, you guys can see on the screen Thiago Alcantara. Name of the video: quality over quantity. Like, obviously, you know, uh, there's been obviously talk about potentially, Thiago may have left. In the summer, Saudi clubs were looking at him. I believe there was a Turkish club who were obviously looking at him as well. So there's a little bit of talk there. There's also been a little bit of talk about potentially getting a new deal, at Liverpool. There's so much talk. There's so many little things. All the while, this guy ain't even here to even speak for himself, because he's obviously injured. And obviously, we'll get into, some of the quotes and stuff like that I've seen, obviously, this week. Obviously, today, filming this video on the 26th, of September. By the time this is posted out, maybe the things have been added. Maybe the situation would have changed. But either way, I think the problem will still kind of remain, with a Thiago. Is it a case of the fan base in a general sense, and really for those who want him to stay and feel that Liverpool should potentially offer him a new deal? Is it really a question of you're picking quality, over quantity in itself? Let me know, obviously, what you guys actually think in the comment section below. And you know what? Let's just dive into it.
Now you know I'm coming through. When the growth look good on you, best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Table turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keep dealing me cards, I keep fitting in love.
What's going on, people? What's going on, man? G, and we're back in the building. Yeah, man. Hopefully this video isn't going to be too long. I don't want to dwell on this for too much time. But yeah, I just felt like Thiago Alcantara, fantastic player, man. Fantastic player. Fantastic player for Bayern Munich anyway. Was obviously coming through at Barcelona. Didn't really make the grade there. I mean, who really could when you've got that kind of midfield, in front of him, the Xavis, the Iniestas, the Sergio Busquets. And then he wasn't really happy with the kind of bit part role that he may have potentially been given, which I totally understand. He felt like, and I also felt like as well, he was a player that should be getting some more game time. It was obviously sad for him to leave Barcelona, because it's Barcelona at the end of the day. But ultimately, he left Barcelona, then obviously went to Bayern Munich, later on then playing under Pep Guardiola, which is actually quite a funny story. But, obviously he's had good seasons. He's had obviously one world-class season, I think, in his entire career. If I'm being totally honest with you, a season I would really say, yeah, this is a world-class individual. I don't think the others were world-class, but I felt like he was always on the periphery, and then he really did, put in that kind of world-class performance. Maybe actually two. Maybe I'll give him two world-class seasons, actually. But yeah, as a whole, he's going to go down, in my opinion, as one of those kind of players where you're just like, it won't be a Pogba thing, because he's obviously actually done stuff. Like, he's actually, still relatively current. He's winning, he's won things, in his career. Not to say Pogba hasn't, but, just he's still current. You know what I mean? And the reason why, he probably hasn't been able to kind of fulfill the real potential of the real Thiago, the one who should be sitting alongside, the Luka Modric, the Toni Krooses of this world. He should be sitting at that kind of table, with those kind of guys, the Kevin De Bruyne's and stuff like that. And on ability alone, yes, of course. But unfortunately, football doesn't work like that, and isn't really measured by just your pure ability, because otherwise, Adel Taarabt would be probably one of the best footballers in the world, that we've ever seen. But, that's just not how it realistically works. You've got to actually really be able to do this, on a consistent basis. And I feel like with Thiago, yeah, obviously the injuries have killed him. Honestly, they have honestly killed him, especially moving to Liverpool. they seem to, maybe because he's playing for Liverpool, maybe because I'm now watching it every single week, every day I'm hearing a new thing with Thiago. Oh, it's this, that. It's he blew his nose too hard and all of a sudden he's injured. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's everything with Thiago, like constantly injured. And, that's why I kind of just wanted to know, in terms of you guys, what's your thoughts, really behind Thiago? Would you like him to sign a new deal? Is it really worth it, spending that kind of money? I can't remember exactly how much he's on, but do you think it'd be worth, I think I want to say 200, but would it be worth keeping someone like that on the wage bill? Someone who's literally not reliable, as a tad bit more reliable than a Naby Keita? I mean, is that, is that the kind of bar that we're setting, for this club? Obviously, it's just one player at the moment. We don't know if anyone else is going to, well, we've got other players who are injury prone, but he just seems to be the worst out of the bunch. Me personally, given my opinion, yeah, I don't feel like he's worth it. I don't think it's that type of player. I know you can have like kind of one player maybe in a team or in a squad who maybe you look at and think to yourself, yeah, you know what? When he does come back, because he's obviously a quality player, you know what I mean? I personally don't think he fits Liverpool. I feel like the type of player that he is, it just doesn't really fit, if I'm being totally honest with you. I haven't seen any real evidence of that since he's actually been here. I've seen some really, really good games. We saw the first game against, when he played that half against Chelsea. I thought we was getting that Thiago, but instead we've gotten a completely different one than the one I really, really thought that we was going to have, and the one I was really, really excited about having. I was like, oh my goodness, for the first time in my life, Liverpool actually going out to sign a world-class player. Can't remember off the top of my head, maybe early 90s potentially. I mean, I was born in the early 90s, so I definitely wasn't watching football back then, but I can't really remember off the top of my head. Again, people in the comment section, whilst you guys are watching this, chime in, let me know, a world-class, like a player who was literally world-class the time that we signed them, not fading, not getting to world-class. Oh yeah, when they got to Liverpool, they then had a great, like a Torres kind of thing. I felt like Torres was a world-class when we signed him, but when he played in that first 2 seasons, yeah, he really did start to show that he was a world-class striker. But this was a player who's literally had just finished winning the Champions League, and then was trying to decide on his kind of next move and stuff like that. And obviously his next move then happened to be Liverpool. I remember PSG at the time, taking a sniff at him. I was excited, man. And me already, man. I rarely do get excited about this club, but that was definitely a period of time when I was like, we just come off winning the Premier League, the season before. I think, no, sorry. The season after that, sorry, to come in the 21-22 season. So I remember thinking, like, we've only just previously won the Premier League, should I say, sorry. And we're getting this kind of guy. Yo, this is solid right now. Like, it's a super solid, like Liverpool, you know what I mean? We're flexing our muscles. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I've been so underwhelmed with him in a general sense. Obviously, the injuries are the main reason as to why, and obviously I saw Pep Linders talking, this is obviously, I think Pep Linders was doing a pre-match conference for the game that Liverpool had. Obviously, by the time this video comes out, it would have already been played, but the game that they obviously have in the midweek against Leicester City. And obviously just talk about Thiago. He's in a good way. The healing process is going well. So that's the most important thing at this moment. Pep Linders on Thiago. We miss Thiago and his quality. We want him back. He's still not back in training, but he's healing. Time will tell how that goes. There was bare other things. Guys, go and read it for yourself. You probably watched the press conference anyway, or you watched the quotes or whatever, wherever it is. It's kind of like the same old thing, really, if I think about it, with Thiago, it's literally the same old thing. Constantly injured, constantly hearing, yeah, he's coming back. Yeah, don't worry, man. We'll see him soon. Blah, blah, blah. Then soon never, ever comes. Soon never, ever comes, with someone like Thiago. And obviously I got up here, his injury list. So mad. I mean, this one just says fitness. But obviously, it's, I guess, from that hip injury that he obviously sustained, back end of last season. I I mean, obviously, you look at the games anyway, and you think to yourself, right, the games is kind of mad that he's missing, But then you look at some of the days, like 122 days with this hip injury that he's obviously had. Obviously, I know some of it was during preseason and stuff like that. Problems with his hip flexor, a hamstring injury, thigh problems, another hip injury, calf injury, knee injury, groin surgery, groin strain, cervical spine injury, muscular problems, torn ankle ligament. That's just page 1, and that's up to 18-19 season. If this thing would hurry up, then we can head on over to the following week. There we go. Again, this is that first page is up to 18-19 season. Obviously, the year that Liverpool won the Champions League. Toe injury, a strain, just need a rest. I even find that's mad. The fact that I'm even laughing to myself is even crazy. Muscle partial avulsion. Bruised knee, torn collateral ligament, pubis bone contusion, abdominal muscle injury, calf injury again, hamstring, minor knock, muscular problems, ligament injury, influenza. I'm not even going to continue on because it's just boring to even continuously keep talking about it. But even just looking at his time, at Liverpool in that 2021, season, you look at that in that first season. I know obviously 7 games he missed was due to coronavirus. I lie because everyone was missing due to coronavirus. 20 games out. For both Liverpool and Spain, in that season. Then the following season picks up a calf injury. He's out for another 10 games. Coronavirus again. Then he gets to the hip injury. He's out for 7 more games. Then he has a bit of thigh problems. He's out for 3 games. Obviously, this is all in the 21-22 season. Then in the 22-23 season, missing 6 games just with a little hamstring injury. Not a problem. Don't really mind that. Then he has a bit of problems with his hip. Misses the further 10 games. Continues with that problem with his hip. Misses the further 9 games. This season still not back from that injury. I'm just like, bro, listen, quality-wise, when it does come to Thiago, I don't think anybody's going to look at Thiago and say, oh, nah, man, Thiago's dead food, man. No, Thiago is a quality player, and he has shown it in moments for Liverpool, throughout his time here. I'll even take a look at, how many games he's actually played for Liverpool, since being here. Take a look here. Because it's just like, for me, I'm just like, yeah, he shows all of this stuff in moments. He's decent, on the ball. We all know exactly what Thiago brings. I don't even think I even realistically, need to keep banging on about it, kind of thing. But at the same time, I'm just like, bro, this it's too much now. It honestly, for me, it is too much. You cannot be spending this amount of time, out. But he's played more games realistically. What's that for Barcelona than he has for flipping Liverpool? And he's barely playing at Barcelona. You know what I'm trying to say? It's stuff like this, that I'm looking at, and I'm just like, oh, Jesus Christ, man. Does it always have to be a thing, with you? Is it always something, that we're constantly seeing? I'll just get this up for you guys. But yeah, I do want to just know your quick thoughts really on what you guys obviously think, in regards to, Thiago. Hopefully you guys can see it. Let me just take a little quick look. Yeah, so you guys can see it hopefully on your screen. If I just enlarge that a bit more. There we go. So obviously, since joining Liverpool back in 2020, he's played a total of 97 games, got himself 3 goals and 6 assists. Now, even the stats, I'm not even too fussed like that about it, because he was always known as from what everyone kept saying was, he's the assist before the assist type of player, which is absolutely fine. Not, I ain't got no problem with that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? You need those kind of players, on the pitch. So the numbers wise, in terms of GA, which I know a lot of people care about, I never really cared with him, because that's not what I was realistically looking for, in a player, like him. It was just a bit better availability, just better availability. I'll be honest. That's really what I was kind of looking for from someone like him. I just feel like we're spending a lot of money on this guy, and yes, he does provide us with quality, within the team, and that's absolutely fine. But ultimately, if I'm only seeing that quality a few times, in your overall time here at Liverpool, I'm not really feeling it. I mean, he's been here for 3 seasons, got himself obviously 97 games, nearly 100 games. So he's averaging, it's mad because the average, when you think about it, is actually pretty decent from, I feel like the average would be pretty decent from a player who, you're not necessarily expecting to play that much, and maybe is a bit of a rotation player, like a player like at Manchester City. Like if you play that amount of games in like 3 seasons, it might not even be too bad, kind of thing. You know what I mean? If you're like a maybe Mahrez, and that might kick up a fuss about it, hence why he's left. But it's not so crazy, kind of thing. Again, only been in for the 3 seasons anyway, so it's not like he's been here like for time and stuff like that. So I would kind of get it in that kind of sense. First season here, played 24 games. Next season, 25. Season after that, he's played 18, and it's all in the Premier League. So you're just like, okay, that's not too bad. That's generally not too bad. But then when you actually think about it, that he could and should have been playing a lot more of these games, then it starts to get a little bit spooky, considering how many games we've actually played, within that period. I don't really know, what that number is, but listen, I like Thiago. I liked him when we signed him. I thought he was a fantastic player. It's underwhelming. I just think with someone like him, if we were to get a bid in January, don't let him go for free. Sell the guy, man. Sell the guy. Go and sign whoever it is you want to sign. I don't even want a Thiago replacement. Liverpool don't need another Thiago. I'm good with that. I don't think Liverpool require one. I don't think we even needed a Thiago anyway. I was just gassed that we got him because of the type of player that he is. But I realized that certain players are not going to fit certain systems, and that's absolutely fine. For me, I feel like we've overgassed some of the bits that he's even done here because of the type of player that he is. So when you're seeing certain things, the fact that he runs around like a headless chicken at times, the fact that he does the little shimmy thing, and he's got fantastic passing range, at times we over accentuate that because we don't really see it. One, we don't really see it that much. And when we do see it, it's like, oh my goodness. But also, I feel like it's because it's so much different than what we've got in the midfield, where you just had runners like Hendo, Fabinho, Milner, and all that, Gini Wijnaldum. When you had all those type of players in the team, when you see something a little bit different, it's almost like, oh my goodness, like this is crazy, blah blah blah. Whereas for me, I was always like, nah, I'm not really feeling. You know what I mean? Like he's a sick player, obviously you can tell, but I'm just not really feeling him in a general sense in this kind of Liverpool setup. And then the fact that you're always injured, I'm just like, yeah, nah. Like that. Like I'm not saying with him, I'm almost not like trying to actively just push him out the door and get rid of him, so to speak. But I am looking at it thinking, well, when January comes, Liverpool best be trying to entertain bids. Definitely, 100%. I think it'd be stupid not to, because then one, you risk losing him on a 3, unless you're going to be even more stupid and sign him to a new deal. Then I'm like, yeah, you guys are really stupid. You know what I mean? Because he's never going to be a player who's not going to, sustain these type of injuries where you can't really rely on him in a season. People, I know some people are trying to, use copium and say, oh, but if he's a player that you can rely on for, just this amount of games, or if we wrap him up in cotton wool, I'm sorry, but this is why he will never, ever be considered as one of the best midfielders of his generation. He can't even be in that kind of combo, with the Modrics, with the KDBs, with the Tony Cruzes, and, people of that kind of ilk. Unfortunately, the Rodgeries and that. Those players are available, give or take, more often than not. Obviously, we know KDB's got his kind of injury issues, but he's there more often than not. Key player for the team. Team kind of revolves around these kind of players. Without them, the team looks slightly weaker, even though they are all strong teams. Modric, the kind of same. Modric, won the Ballon d'Or not too long ago, like best player in the world. These kind of things, and it's because of the longevity that they obviously give you guys. It's not just a 1 season thing or 10 games in a season, because we can only really rely on him for like 25 games in a season. Then it's like, oh, well, we can only really rely on him for 25 games in a season. So out of that 25, he's going to have maybe like 10 good ones. Nah. These guys are very, very consistent. And through their ages, they're all getting older. They're still even as consistent as they were, throughout their, would I say prime, quote unquote prime. So yeah, I feel like Thiago, listen, look, I like the guy. I really, really do like the guy. And this ain't really to get onto him, but it's just more to, ask you guys what your opinion is really on Thiago. How do you feel about him? Are we looking at it as a quality over quantity kind of thing? Like, do we care more that because he does nice shimmies and stuff like that? Like, is that why we want to keep him? And we're not actually that concerned realistically with his level of availability, which is more or less non-existent. Is that something that we're looking at, or do you guys think like, hey, maybe we should, seek past this new, or maybe he should, seek pastures new, heading into, the following season, while Liverpool obviously, finishing off that midfield rebuild with these new midfielders, there's Szoboszlai, McAllister's, Gravenberch, you got in Endo, maybe Liverpool look to get in potentially an Andre, in the January transfer window. Let me know, obviously, what you guys think, in regards to that. Let me know what you guys think, obviously, in regards to, Thiago Alcantara. Yeah, let me know how you think this should kind of play out. Do you guys want him to stay? Should he go? Is it wise to stay? Is it best for Liverpool that he goes? I know he can be a great player on his day, like many other players, who could be fantastic on their day, but is he worth it? That's my biggest question. Do you guys genuinely believe, that he's kind of worth the hassle that he's giving? Because when it was Naby Keita and them, man, you man ain't really trying to hear it. So I want to know, what do you guys think, obviously, about Thiago? But guys, that's the end of the video. Hopefully I didn't keep you guys for too long. As I mentioned before, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm G. We are out.